So, no, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just going to say, how do you think last week went?
You know, didn't win, so it's not good. Pretty much at the end of the day, there's no glory points to take away from not winning. You know, that's what we get up and do all that we do for. You know, we put in 12-hour days, so at the end of the day, if we don't win, it doesn't really matter.
Obviously, specifically related to your play, how did you think you went?
Did some good things. Definitely some things I can do better at. Um, you know, as a unit, too. Definitely did some great things. Definitely did some things you can be better at. But you know, when you don't win, it's different. So, yeah.
Also, when you see plays that maybe don't go your way in games, are there things that you kind of key up on, or are there things that you kind of see for the future that maybe I can keep an eye out for this, or I can keep this in my notepad maybe for next time, things that can help you improve?
Definitely, definitely. I'm on my second notebook this year already. I take notes. Um, I, Something I've been working at since I was 12 years old. You know, it's not gonna stop. I think the reason I'm here is because it's never gonna stop for me. The only way is up. So I think that, along with my position group, you know, we're all kind of the same type of. We're gonna get it right, guys. And the only thing we know is to work harder when we get in situations like this and work smarter. So
What's the note taking process like for you?
there's a lot of different things. You know, you have scouting. You got to scout the defense. You got to see who your nickels are, who your stars are. You know what safeties they like to rotate down and out. They got some guys that like to come in sub packages to play different rush positions, whereas in normal base downs they'd be coverage guys. So that's one part, and then also, you know, you have your technique. You know that you work with your coaches and stuff like that. Take that from them, and then you have you know, your assignments, which you get from coaches too, which you need to handle. So it's a lot.
Yeah,
Austin,
sounds like
how do you prevent this start, not just as a unit, but as a player, from chipping away at your confidence?
He says, I didn't hear the first part of what you
How do you
said.
prevent the start that you've had as a player and then also as a unit from chipping away at your confidence?
I don't get the question. Can you explain it for me?
Confidence-wise, where are you?
Oh, I'm very confident. Very confident in myself and in my team. Um, you know, it's a National Football League. You know, obviously we come in here, we work every day, and we want to win, and there's no excuse for not winning at the end of the day. But confidence-wise, you know, we know that every person we play, they put their pants on the same way we do, and you know, we know that, you know, we can fix things and we can be better. You know, we've won games before. You know, like we obviously know there's stuff that needs to be done, and we're doing it. Like the process of doing it. Um, so yeah, I think our confidence is good.
With this team, you guys started out with the identical 1-3 start last season, and then turned it around. What in your mind was the key to turning it around?
Um, I think hmm, last year was a long time ago. Um, a big thing for us turning it around, really, I think we just kind of settled down a little bit. You know, became more focus oriented on like little things and what we do. You know, you got 11 people on the field trying to get one goal, but if all 11 pieces aren't lined up how they should be, it makes it harder. So I think just, you know, as a unit we come together, and then also individually we all focus more. Um, I think that's what's going to be the focus to some dubs.
In pass protection, Austin, has Lem made any change from how Coach Marshall taught you? Have you made any technical adjustments in pass protection with the new coach
Mm,
as far as techniques?
yeah, there's some different stuff there. There's some different stuff.
Has that been an adjustment at all?
Um, Adjustment how? Like obviously when you have to do something different, it's always an adjustment, you know. So yeah, it was an adjustment just because they're two different coaches.
You know, I guess some people wonder with all the turnover of offensive line coaches here, you know, does that impact the players much in terms of at your position? It would seem significant in terms of having to learn a technique that the new coach wants. And I know you would not make excuses or blame that for anything, but is that a reasonable explanation for perhaps anyone's struggles on the offensive line? One of several factors.
I don't think they paid me to answer that question at all. So I don't think I can. But I do know as a player, and I know one thing I can do is focus on what I do. No matter what it's being told, it's like you got a job, you got to do it. That's like a Flo or Chris Greer question. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
And then one last thing from me on your run blocking. We saw the great block on Malcolm Brown TD run a couple weeks ago. Are you happy with that part of your game, your run blocking?
Oh yeah. Run blocking is fun. I think going back to college, we would just line it up and hit all practice. In high school, it's fun. So I think kind of like making the adjustment to an NFL offensive tackle is, you play 10-year professionals. You gotta, get your professional technique up. So that's something I have fun doing, getting better at every day. And run blocking is fun.
I want to ask you about the RPO. Is RPO run blocking a lot different than regular run blocking from the standpoint? In RPO run blocking, you can't really be super aggressive. You have to be basically 1 yard down the field. You can't just tee off on somebody.
It is, yeah. It's a little tricky. If you remember, I had a down the field call a couple games back on the RPO. So it's definitely. I don't want to say more passive. You just gotta be smarter about it. You gotta try to sustain your blocks long enough to give the quarterback time. If he needs to throw the ball, you gotta make sure he has enough time to throw it without being downfield. Versus if it's a run, you gotta take care of the down lineman first before you get to the second level. Because if you're in the second level too soon, then that's when penalties start coming out and stuff like that.
How do you know it's a run play if it's happening behind you in those situations? How do you? Yeah.
You gotta be smart. You gotta be on your toes. With a lot of offensive line play, you gotta be on your toes. You gotta think fast. But that's what we practice for. We practice, we study. Coaches are available. There's always an adjustment or something you can do. So. Yeah.
There's a lot of versatile guys on this line. You've been pretty steady as the left tackle since you've been here. Do you feel you also have versatility at different positions if ever called upon?
Oh yeah, I definitely think I could, play anywhere. I think I could play, guard, center, tackle. I love to play football, and offensive line play is something I've been around for a long time. You ask any. I don't really know if it's the same, but you ask any receiver if they can move around, I'm sure they all could, I think offensive lineman is the same way, unless you're, any offensive lineman. You got short tackles, you got tall tackles, you got short guards, you got tall guards, anybody can move around. It's about your mental.
Center too.
Mental. There's a lot of centers that can move out to tackle, though, too. Michael Dieter did his freshman year. I know if you guys remember that. I remember seeing that, and it was crazy, but.
Overall,
I watched a lot of film, so I remember going back and I was like, whoa, didn't expect that.
Overall, when I say you guys, I mean the offensive linemen gather in your room, what is the general feeling for how the level of performance you put up so far and the level of performance you're capable of moving forward?
Overall, like I said earlier, it's like when we're not winning, we're not accomplishing our goal. So I think first and foremost, we're not accomplishing our goal. And instead of getting into the finger pointing game that a lot of people can get into, it's more so of there's obviously things we can do better to help our team out and help everybody out. So that's pretty much the vibe, I would say. I know for me personally, there's some plays I wish I could take back and do way differently now, but it's in the past now. Best thing I can do is just not make the same mistake again.
Coach Lum was having a conversation with Omar, and he talked about the difference between a question and the test. And he was explaining how just because you get one question wrong doesn't mean the whole test has to be a failure. I don't know if you've spoken to about that philosophy, but I was thinking about how when I was in class, I didn't know that which ones I got wrong until the test was over.
Yeah.
how do you process knowing that you might have gotten a question wrong and there's still like 3 quarters to play, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in the NFL, you can't let one bad thing spiral into something else. So, you mess up on a play, it's like you can't, I messed up on that last play, and now I'm gonna go out here and be, scared to do anything else. It's kind of like you just got to learn from it quickly without putting a bunch of blame on yourself to restrict you from doing better on the next play, I see about the question and the test thing. Yeah, just because you fail one question doesn't mean you fail the test. But I know for me personally, it's like I don't want to get anything wrong on the test. You know what I mean? So, that's where we're at with that.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.